We will be reading chapter 22-23 of Mark by PC Cass and Kristen Cass. She has a point, Damien said. She joined the daughter center. Shaunee said, "What?" Damien screamed. He was going up about 20 octaves. "Leave her alone," Stevie Rae said, instantly coming to my defense. "She's reconsidering how. If she joined the Dark Daughter, she's engaging the enemy full on," Damien said. "Well, she joined," Shaunee said. "We heard her." Erin said, "Hello, I'm still right here," I said. "So what are you going to do?" Damien asked me. "I don't really know," I said. "You better get a plan and get one quick, or those hags are going to have you for lunch," Erin said. "Yeah," Sharon said, biting her face seriously into herself for effort. "Hey, she doesn't have to figure this out on her own. She has us." Stevie crossed her arms over her chest and glanced at the twins. I smiled.
Would you like a vegetable soup?
"Sure!
Homemade vegetable soup?
Sure!"
Alright.
I smiled my thanks to Stevie. "Well, I kind of have an idea." "Good. Tell us and we'll brainstorm," said Stevie Rae. Everyone looked exceptionally at me. I said, "Well, I started hesitating, afraid I was sounding like a moron. Then I decided I might as well tell them what happened, been on my mind since I talked to Grandma. So I finished in a rush. I thought I'd perform an ancient purification prayer based on Cherokee ritual and ask Nick to help me come up with a plan." The silence at the table had seemed to last forever. Then Damien finally said, "Asking for Nix's help isn't a bad idea. Are you Cherokee?" Shaunee asked. "You look Cherokee," Erin said. "Hello, her last name is Redbird. She's Cherokee," Stevie Rae said with a front face. "Well, that's good," Shaunee said, but looked doubtful. "I just think that Nix might actually hear me and maybe give me some kind of clue as to what I should do to her or Aphrodite." I looked at each of my friends. Something inside me says it's just wrong to let her get away with all the crap she's getting away with. "Let me tell them," Stevie Rae solemnly said. They won't tell anyone, really. And it'd help if they knew." "What the F?" Erin said. "Okay, now you have no choice," Shaunee said, pointing at Stevie Rae with her fork. "She knew if she said that we would pester the crap out of you until you told us whether it is she's talking about." I frowned at Stevie Rae, who shrugged her shoulders sheepishly and said, "Sorry." Reluctantly, I lowered my voice and leaned forward. "Promise you won't tell anyone." "Promise," they said. I think I can feel the 5 elements when a circle is cast. Silence. They just stared. 3 of them shocked. Stevie Rae smug. "What?"
My pepper shaker opened on the wrong side again. That's 2 nights in a row. I'm batting 1,000 here.
"So you think she can take Aphrodite down?" Stevie Rae said. "I knew there was more to your mark than falling down and hitting your head," Shaunee said. "Wow," Erin said. "Talk about good gossip. No one can know," I said quickly. "Please," Shaunee said. "We're just saying that someday this is going to be great gossip." "We know how to wait for great gossip," Erin said. Damien ignored both of them. "I don't think there's this record of any high priestess who had infirmity with all 5 elements." Damien's voice got more excited as he spoke. "Do you know what that means?" He didn't give me a chance to respond. "It means you could potentially be the puniest high priestess the vampires have ever known." "Huh?" I said. "Persistent, strong, powerful," he said immediately. "You might actually be able to take out Nephrite. Now, that's some good, seriously good news," Erin said as she nodded in enthusiastic agreement. So when and where are we going to do the purification thingy? Stevie Rae said. You're not in this alone, Zoey, she said. I opened my mouth to protest. I wasn't even sure what I was going to do. I didn't want to get my friends mixed up in something that might actually would probably be a total mess. But Damien didn't give me time to tell them no. You need us, he said simply. Even the most puniest high priest needs her circle. Well, I haven't really thought about casting a circle. I was just gonna do it, some kind of purification prayer thing. Can't you cast a circle and then pray the prayer and ask for Nix's help? Stevie Rae asked. Seems logical, Shaunee said. Plus, if you really do have a affinity for the 5 elements, I'll bet we will be able to sense it when you cast your own circle. Right, Damien? Stevie Rae said. Everyone looked at the gay scholar of our group. Sounds like good logic to me, he said. I was still going to argue, even though everything inside me felt revealed and happy and grateful that my friends would be there with me, that they wouldn't let me face all of the uncertainty alone. Valued them. They are pearls of great price. The familiar voice floated through my mind, and I realized that I shouldn't question the new instinct within me that seemed to have been born within when Nix kissed my forehead and permanently changed my mark in my life. Okay, I'm going to need a smudge stick. They looked at me blankly, and I went on to explain. It's for the purification part of the ritual because I don't have any running water handy, or do I? You mean like a stream or a river or something like that? Stevie Rae asked. Yeah, well there's a little stream that runs through the courtyard outside the dining hall and disappears somewhere under the school. That's no good. It's too public. We will need to use the smudge stick. What works best is dry lavender, sage mixed together, and sage mixed together. But if I have to, I can use pine. I can get the sage and lavender, Damien says. They have that kind of stuff in the school supply store for the 5th and 6th form spells and ritual spells classes.
Never mind.
I'll just say I'm helping out an upperclassman by picking up some for him. What else do you need? Well, in the purification ritual, Grandma always thanked the 7 scarce directions Cherokee people honor. North, south, east, west, sun, earth, and south. But I'm thinking I want to make the prayer more specific to Nix. I chewed my lip thinking, I think that's more, yeah. I mean, Nix isn't ailed with the sun. She's night. I think you should follow your gut, Stevie Rae said. Trusting herself is one of the first things a high priestess learns to do, Damien says. Okay, then I'll also need a candle for each of the 5 elements, I decided. Easy peasy, Shaunee said. Yeah, the temple is never locked, and there are zillions of circle candles in there. Is it okay to take them? Stealing from Nix's temple definitely did not feel like a good idea. It's fine as long as we bring them back. Damien said. What else? That's it, I think. Hell, I wasn't sure. It's not like I actually knew what I was doing. When and where? After dinner. Let's say 5 o'clock. And we can't go together. The last thing we need is for Aphrodite or any of the other Dark Daughters to think we're having some kind of meeting and get curious about us. So let's meet at the huge oak tree by the eastern wall. I smiled quickly at them. It's easier to find if you pretend that you just ran out of one of the Dark Order Daughters rituals in the rec hall and you want to get the hell away from the hags. That doesn't take much pretending, Shaunee said. Erin snorted. Okay, we'll bring the stuff, Damien said. Yeah, we'll bring the stuff. You bring the pureness, Shaunee said, giving Damien a smart-ass look. That is not the correct form of the word. You know, you should really do more reading. Maybe your vocabulary would improve, Damien said. Your mom needs to read more, Shaunee said. And then she and Erin just solving giggles at the really bad your mom joke. I, for one, was glad that they shifted the subject away from me and I could eat my salad and think in relative privacy when they bigger back and forth. I was chewing and trying to remember all the words to the purification prayer when all hopped up on the bench beside me. She looked at me with her big eyes and then leaned into me and started to purr like a jet engine. I don't know why, but she made me feel better. And when the bell rang, we all hurried off to class. Each of my 4 friends smiled at me, gave me a secret wink, and said, "Later, Z." They made me feel better, too. Even though they're easy to adoption of Eric's nickname for me was a great gave my heart a twinge. Spanish class zoomed by. A whole lesson on learning how to say that we like things or don't like things. Professor Grammy was cracking me up. She said it would change our lives. Me, gasta gusto. I like cats. Me, gasta de compress. I like shopping. No, me, gasta garana. I don't like to cook. No, me, gasta lavender el gato. I don't like to wash the cat. There were Professor Grammy's favorites, and we spent the hour coming up with our own favorites. I tried to scribble things like gusta Erik and no me gasta el hago Aphrodite. Okay, so I'm sure el hago
I'm sorry, baby. I don't mean to interrupt your reading.
is not how you say hag in Spanish, but still. Anyway, class was fun, and I actually understood what we were saying. The question in class didn't quite zoom by. Mocking stalls was good for thinking. I went over and over the purification prayer, but the hour definitely seemed to take an hour. This time Stevie Rae didn't have to come get me. I was way too anxious to lose track of time. As the bell rang, I was quickly putting up my curry combs, happy that Libra had let me groom Persephone again, and preoccupied because she had also told me that the start next week. She thought I might actually begin riding her. I hurried off out of the stalls, wishing that the hour wasn't so late. In the real world, I had loved to call Grandma and tell her how I was doing with the horses. I know what's going on. I swear, almost joke. God, Aphrodite, could you make a sound or something? What are you, part spider? You scared the hell out of me. What's wrong? She purred. Guilty conscious. When you sneak up behind people, you scared them. Guilt has nothing to do with it, so you're not guilty, Aphrodite. I don't know what you're talking about. I know you're planning for tonight, and yet I still don't know what you're talking about. Oh crap, how could she have found out? Everyone thinks you're so damn cute and so damn innocent, and they're so damn impressed by the freakish mark of yours. Everyone but me. She turned to face me, and we stopped in the middle of the sidewalk. Her blue eyes narrowed and her face twisted until it was scarcely haggish. I wanted briefly, but if the twins realized how accurate the nickname was for her, no matter what bullshit you heard, he's still mine. He'll always be mine. My eyes widened,
Damn it!
and I felt a wash of
I'm sorry, baby.
relief so intense it made me laugh. She was talking about Erik, and not about the purification prayer. Wow, so you sound like Eric's mom. Does he know you're checking up on him? Do I look like Eric's mom when you watch me suck his dick in the hallway? So she did know. Whatever. I suppose it was inevitable that we would have this conversation. No, you don't look like Eric's mom. You look like what you are, desperate. While you pathetically try to throw yourself at a guy who is clearly telling you he didn't want you anymore. Fucking bitch. No one talks to me like that. She raised her hand and claw-like moved to slash my face. Then it seemed that the world stopped, leaving two of us in a little bubble of slow motion. I caught her wrist, stopping her easily, too easily. It was like she was a small, sick child who had struck out in anger. But it was really too weak to do any harm.
Baby, if I may interrupt, I just want to apologize to your audience for my language. I'm preparing a vegetable soup and trying to chop up some turnips, and they keep falling on the floor, so that's what was irritating me. And
It's okay, baby.
I apologize to you, I apologize to the good Lord, and I apologize to your audience.
It's okay. I'm just recording right now. It's not live.
Oh, okay.
I held her there for a moment, meeting her hateful eyes. Don't ever try to hit me again. I'm not one of those kids you can bully. Get this, and get this now. I'm not scared of you. Then I flung her wrist away from me and was totally shocked to see her stagger back several feet, rubbing her wrist and glancing at me. Don't bother showing up tomorrow. Consider yourself uninvited and no longer a dark daughter. Really? I felt unbelievably calm. I knew I held the triumph card on this, and I pulled it. So you want to explain to my mentor, High Priestess Nephrit, the vamp whose idea was for me to join the Dark Daughters in the first place, that you kicked me out because you're jealous that your ex-boyfriend left me? Her face paled. Oh, and you may want to be very sure that I'll be totally, completely upset when you never ask me about it. I sniffed and sobbed a little like I was fake crying. Do you know what it's like to be part of something and have no one else in the group want you there? She snarled between her clenched teeth. I felt my stomach clench and had to force myself not to let her see she struck a nerve. Yes, I knew exactly what it was like to be part of something, a supposed family, and have it feel like no one else wanted me there. But Aphrodite wasn't going to know it. Instead, I smiled in my sweetest voice. I said, "Why? Whatever do you mean, Aphrodite? Erik is part of the Dark Sons, and just today at lunch he told me how happy he was that I joined the Dark Daughters. Come to the ritual, pretend you're part of the Dark Daughters, but you better remember something. They're my Dark Daughters. You're the outsider, the one who is not wanted. And remember this, to Erik Night and I have a bond that you'll never understand. He's not my ex, anything.
Sorry again.
You didn't stay to see the end of our little game in the hall. He was then, and he is now exactly what I wanted him to be, mine." Then she tossed her very big, very blonde hair and stalked away. About 2 breaths later, Stevie Rae stuck her head up from behind an old tree that was far from the sidewalk and said, "Is she gone?" "Thankfully," I said. I shook my head at Stevie Rae. "What are you doing back there?" "Are you kidding me? I'm hiding." She scared the jibby-jeebies out of me. "I was coming to meet you and saw the two of you arguing. Man, she actually tried to hit you." Aphrodite has some serious anger management issues. Stevie Rae laughed. Stevie Rae, you can come out from behind the tree now." Still laughing, Stevie Rae practically skipped over to me and linked her arms with mine. "You really stood up to her." "I really did. She really, really hates your guts. She really, really, really does." "You know what that means?" Stevie Rae said. "Yeah. I don't have any choice now. I'm going to have to take her down." "Yeah, but I knew that I have no choice even before Aphrodite tried to scratch my eyes out. I hadn't had any choice since Nyx had planted her mark on me." As Stevie Rae and I walked together in the gaslight illuminated richness of the night, the goddess words repeated over and over through my mind. You are old beyond your years, Zoey Bird. Believe in yourself and you will find a way, but remember, darkness does not equate to evil, just as light does not always bring good. I hope the rest of them can find it. I glanced around me while Stevie Rae and I waited by the big oak tree. It didn't seem this dark last night. It wasn't. It's really cloudy tonight, so the moon's having trouble shining through. But don't worry, the change is doing really cool things for our night vision. Heck, I think I can see as good as Nala." Stevie Rae scratched the cat firmly on her head, and Nala closed her eyes and purred. "They'll find us." I leaned against the tree and worried. Dinner had been good. Seriously yummy. Boiled chicken, seasoned rice, and baby snow peas. One thing I could say for this place, they could really cook. Yeah, everything had been great until Erik came by our table and said hi. Okay, it wasn't really a hi Z, I still like you hi. It was a hi Zoey, period. Yep, that was it. He's gotten his food and walked with a couple of other guys, the twins called hotties. I will admit that I didn't even notice them. I was too busy noticing Erik. They came to our table. I looked up and smiled. He met my eyes for a millisecond, said hi Zoey, and walked on. All of a sudden, the chicken didn't taste as nearly as good. You just hurt his ego. Be nice to him and he'll act you out again. Stevie Rae said, bringing me my thoughts back to the present under the tree. This is chapter 23. How do you know I was thinking about Eric? I asked. Stevie Rae had quit petting now, so I reached down and scratched the cat on top of her head before she started complaining at me. 'Cause that's what I've been thinking about. Well, I should be thinking about the circle I have to cast, but never cast before in my entire life, and the purification ritual I have to perform. And not some boy. He's not some boy. He's some fine boy. Stevie Rae drawled. Making me laugh.
Soup is underway.
Okay.
I hope it's gonna be good, but I think it will.
Yes, baby.
I didn't put a tomato sauce in it though. It's more like a broth based instead of a tomato based.
Okay.
Wish I had me some cabbage, but.
You must be thinking about Eric, Damien said, stepping out of the shadows of the wall. Don't worry, I saw the way he was looking at you at lunch today. He'll act you out again. Yeah, take it from him, Shaunee said. He is a group expert on all things pinnail. Erin said as they joined them under the tree. Quite true, Damien said. Before they could make my heart hurt, they changed the subject. Did you get the stuff we need? I had to mix the dry sage and lavender together myself. I hope it's okay that I tied it like this. Damien pulled the smudge stick out of dry herbs out of his jacket sleeve and handed it to me. It was thick and almost a foot long, and right away I smelled the familiar sweetness of lavender. He wrapped the bundle tightly together on one end with what looked like extra thick thread. It's perfect, I smiled at him. He looked relieved and said a little shyly, I used my own cross-stitch thread. Hey, I told you before you shouldn't be ashamed that you like to cross-stitch. I think it's a cute hobby, plus you're really good at it, Stevie Rae said. I wish my dad thought so, Damien said. I hate hearing the sadness in his voice. I wish you'd teach me sometime. I always wanted to learn to cross-stitch, I lied. And he was glad to see Damien's face brighten. Anytime, Z. How about the candles? Asked the twins. Hey, we told you easy. Shaunee opened her purse and pulled out green, yellow, and blue violets and cornerstone order thick glass cups. Peasy. From her purse, Erin pulled out a red and purple violet in the same kind of color containers. Good. Okay, let's see. Let's move from here a little away from the trunk, but close enough that we're still standing under the branches. They followed me as I walked a few paces from the tree. I looked at the candles. What should I do? Maybe I should, and at least thought about it anew, without stopping to wonder how or why or question the intelligent knowledge that had suddenly come to me. I simply acted on it. I'm going to give each of you a candle. Then, just like the vamps in Nephari's full moon ritual, you're going to revisit the elements. I'll be spirit. Erin handed me the purple vial. I'm the center of the circle. The rest of you take your places around me. Without hesitation, I took the red candle from Erin's hand and handed it to Shaunee. You'll be fired. Sounds good to me. I mean, everyone knows how hot I am. She grinned and shimmered to the south edge of the circle. The green candle was next. I turned to Stevie Rae. Earth and green's my favorite color, she said, heavily moving to stand across from Shaunee. Erin, your water. Good. I used to like my layout, which involves swimming, when I needed to cool off, Erin said, moving to the restaurant position. So I must be air, Damien said, taking the yellow can. Your yellow opens the circle. Kind of like I wish I could open people's minds, he said, moving to the eastern position. I smiled warmly at him. Yep, kind of like that. Okay, what's next? Stevie Rae asked. Well, let's use the smoke from the smudge stick to purify ourselves. I set the purple candle at my feet so I could concentrate on the smudge stick. Then I rolled my eyes. Well, hell, did anyone remember to bring matches or a lighter or whatever? Naturally, Damien said, pulling a lighter from his. Thanks, Aya. I said, don't mention it, High Priestess, he said. I didn't say anything, but when he called me that, a shiver of excitement tingled through my body. Here's how you use the smudge stick. I said that glad that my voice sounded way calmer than I felt. I stood in the center of Damien, deciding that I should begin with the circle, where the circle would start, realizing that I was eerily echoing my grandma and the lessons of my childhood. I began explaining the process to my friends. Smudging is a ritual way to cleanse a person, place, or an object of negative energies, spirits, or influence. The smudging ceremony involves the burning of special scarce plants and herbal reagents, then either passing an object through the smoke or fanning the smoke around the person or place. The spirit of the plant purifies whatever is being smudged. I smiled at Damien. Ready? Affirmative, he said in his typical Damien fashion. I lit the smudge stick and let the fire burn the dry herbs for a little while. Then I blew them out so that all there was left was a nicely smoked ember. Then started at Damien's feet. I waffled smoke up his body while I continued my explanation of the ancient ceremony. It's really important to remember that we're asking the spirits of the scarce plants using to help us, and should show them proper respect by acknowledging their powers. What do lavender and sage do? Stevie Rae asked from across the circle. While smudging my way up Damien's body, I answered Stevie Rae. White sage is used a lot in traditional ceremonies. It drives out negative energy, spirits, and influences. Actually, desert sage does the same thing, but I like white sage better because it smells sweeter. I mean, to Damien's hands and granted him, good choice, Damien. Sometimes I think I'm going to be a little psychic, Damien said. Erin and Sam snorted, but we ignored them. Okay, now let's turn clockwise. I'll finish with your back, I told him. He turned and I continued. My grandma always uses lavender and all her sage in her smudge sticks. I'm sure part of the reason is that she owns a lavender farm. Cool, Stevie Rae said. Yeah, it's an awesome place. I smiled over my shoulder at her, but kept smudging Damien. The harder part of the reason she uses lavender is because it is able to restore balance and create a peaceful atmosphere. It also draws love and energy and positive spirits. I tapped Damien's shoulder so he could turn around. You're done. Then I moved around the circle to Shaunee, who was representing the fireman, and I began smudging her. Positive spirits, Stevie Rae said, sounding young and scared. I don't know. We'll be calling anything more than the elements to the circles. Please, Stevie Rae, Shaunee said, firing through the smoke to Stevie Rae. You cannot be a vampire and be afraid of ghosts. Nope, doesn't even sound right, Erin said. I glanced across the circle at Stevie Rae, and our eyes met briefly. We were both thinking about my encounter with what might have been Elizabeth's ghost, but neither of us seemed willing to talk about it. I'm not a vampire yet. I'm just a fleetling, so it's okay for me to be scared of ghosts. Wait, isn't Zoey talking about Cherokee spirits that probably won't pay much attention to a ceremony done by a bunch of vampire fleetlings whose non-Native Americanness outweighs a high priestess Cherokee-ness 4-1, Damien said. I finished with Shaunee and moved to Erin. I don't think it matters that much that we are on the outside, I said, intentionally feeling the righteousness of what I was saying. I think what matters is our intent. It's kind of like this. Everybody in her group are some of the best looking, most talented kids at the school. And the Dark Daughters should be an awesome club, but instead we call them the Hags. And they're basically a bunch of bullies and spoiled brats. Wonder how Erik fit into all of this. Was he really just whatever about the group like he told me? Or was he into it more deeply than that, as Aphrodite implied? Or kids have been bullied into joining and who are just along for the ride, Erin said. Exactly. I mentally shook myself. Now that was not the time to daydream about Erin. I finished smiling Erin and walked over to stand in front of Stevie Rae. What I mean is that I do think the spirits of my ancestors can hear us. Just like I think the spirits of the sage and the lavender are working for us. But I don't think you have anything to be afraid of, Stevie Rae. Our intention is not to call them here so that they can use them to kick Aphrodite's ass. I paused in my smudging And even though the girl definitely needs a good ass kicking, I don't think there will be any scary ghosts hanging around tonight, I said firmly, then handed Stevie Rae the measuring stick and said, okay, now you do me. She gave me my actions, and I relaxed into the familiar sweet smug as it drifted around me. We're not going to ask them to help us kick her ass, and it's definitely sounding disappointing. No, we're purifying ourselves so that we can ask for Nix's guidance. I don't want to beat Aphrodite up. I remember how good it felt to toss her away from me and tell her off. Well, okay, I might enjoy it, but the truth is that doesn't solve the problem of the Dark Daughters. Stevie Rae was done smudging me, and I took the stick from her and carefully rubbed it out on the ground. Then I returned to the center of the circle where Nala was curled conditionally in a little ball beside the spirit circle candle. I looked around my friends. It's true that we don't like Aphrodite, but I think it's important not to focus on negatives like kicking her ass or pushing her out of the Dark Daughters. That's what she would do in our place. What we want is what's right. More like justice than revenge. We're different from her. And if we somehow manage to take her place in the Dark Daughters, that group would be different too. See, that's why you'll be the High Priestess, and Erin and I will just be your very attractive sidekick, because we are shallow and are just want to knock her bobbling head off her shoulders. I said, while Erin Night, positive thoughts only, please, Damien said sharply. We are in the middle of a purification ritual. Before Sarah could do anything more than glare at Damien's theory. Okay, I'm thinking only positive things, like how great it would be if Zoey was leader of the Dark Daughters. Good idea, Stevie Rae, Damien said. I'm thinking the same. Hey, that's my happy thought too, Erin said. Peter Pan with me, twin? She called to Shaunee, who stopped scrolling at them and said, you know, I'm always up for happy thoughts, and it would be damn nice if Zoey was in charge of the Dark Daughters and on her way to being High Priestess for real. I wonder briefly whether it was a good or bad thing that those words made me feel as if I might need a peek again. Sighing, I lit the purple candle. Ready? I asked the four of them. Ready, they said together. Okay, pick up your candles. Without hesitation, which meant I was also giving myself time to chicken out, I carried the candle over to Damien. I wasn't expert and brilliant like Nephrite, seductive and confident like Nephrite. I was just me, just Zoey, the familiar stranger who had gone from being an almost normal high school kid to a truly unusual vampire fleeting. I took a deep breath. As my grandma would say, all I could do was try my best. Air is everywhere, so it only makes sense that it will be the first element to be called into the circle. I ask that you hear me, Air, and I summon you to the circle. I lit Damien's yellow candle with my purple one, and instantly the flame began to flicker crazily. I watched Damien's eyes get big and round, and startled looking as when suddenly looked, and a mini whirlwind around our bodies, lifting our hair and brushing softly. It's true, he said. You can actually manifest the elements. Well, I whispered back, feeling lightheaded. One of us, at least. Let's try for two. I walked over to Shaunee. She raised the candle eagerly and made me smile when she says, I'm ready for fire. Bring it on. Fire reminds me of cold winter nights and the warmth of safety of the fireplace that heats my grandma's cabin. I ask that you hear me, fire. I summon you to the circle. I lit the red candle in the flame blazed much brighter than it should have. Possible for an ordinary person. The air surrounding Shaunee and me was suddenly filled with the rich, woody scent and homey warmth of a roaring fireplace. Wow, Shaunee exclaimed, her dark eyes dancing with the reflection of the candle's shimmering flame. Now that's good. That's two, I heard Damien say. Erin was grinning when I took my place in front of her. I'm ready for water, she said quickly. Water is relieved on a hot Oklahoma summer day. It's the amazing ocean that I really would like to see someday. And it's the rain that makes the lavender grow. I ask that you hear me, water, and I summon you to this circle. I lit the blue candle and felt instant coolness against my skin, as well as smell a clean, salty scent that could have only be the ocean I never seen. Awesome, really awesome, Erin said, drawing in a deep breath of ocean air. That's 3. Damien said, I'm not scared anymore, Stevie Rae said when I stood in front of her. Good. Then I focused my mind on the fourth element, Earth. Earth supports and surrounds us. We wouldn't be anything without her. I ask that you hear me, Earth, and I summon you to the circle. The green candle lit easily, and suddenly Stevie Rae and I were overwhelmed with the sweet scent of freshly cut grass. I heard the rustle of the oak leaves, and we looked up to see that great oak nearly bound its branches over us as though it would show us from all harm. Totally amazing, Stevie Rae breathed. 4, Damien said, his voice filled with excitement. I walked quickly to the center of the circle and lit my purple candle. The last element is one that fills everything and everyone. It makes us unique, and it breathes life into all things. I ask that you hear me, Spirit. I summon you to the circle. Incredibly, it seemed like I was suddenly surrounded by the 4 elements, that I was in the middle of a whirlpool made up of air and fire, water and earth. But it wasn't scary, not at all. It filled me with peace. At the same time, I felt a surge of white-hot power and had to press my lips tightly together to keep from laughing with tear-dry. Look at the circle, Damien shouted. I blinked my vision clear and instantly felt the elements settle down as if they were playful kittens who were sitting around me, waiting happily for me to call them to bat at stinging and whatnot. I was smiling in the comparison when I saw the glowing light that wrapped around the circumference of the circle, joining Damien, Shaunee, Erin, and Stevie Rae. It was bright and clear, and the luminous silver of a full moon. And that makes 5, Damien said. Holy crap, I blurted, very unharmed priestess light, and the 4 of them laughed, filling the night with the sounds of happiness, and I understood for the first time why Nephite and Aphrodite had danced during the rituals. I wanted to dance and laugh and shout with happiness. Another time, I told myself, tonight there was more serious. Okay, I'm going to speak the purification prayer, I told my 4 friends, and while I say the prayer, I'm going to face each of the elements one at a time. What do you want us to do? Stevie Rae asked. Focus on the prayer. Concentrate. Believe that the elements will carry it to Nyx, and the goddess will answer it by helping me to know what I should do, I said with more certainty than I felt. Once again, I faced east. Damien smiled encouragement to me, and I began to recite the ancient purification prayer I said so many times with my grandma, with just a few changes I decided on earlier. Great goddess of night, whom voice I heard in the wind, who breathed the fire of life to her children, hear me. I need your strength and wisdom. I paused briefly as I turned south. Let me walk in beauty and make my eyes ever behold the red and purple sunset that comes before the beauty of your night. Make my hands respect the things you have made, and my ears sharp to hear your voice. Make me wise so that I may understand the things you have taught your people. I turned to the right again, and my voice felt stronger as I fell into the rhythm of the prayer. Help me to remain calm and strong in the face of all that comes towards me. Let me learn the lesson you have hidden in every leaf and rock. Help me seek pure thought and act with the maturity of helping others. Help me find compassion without infinitely overwhelming me. I faced Stevie Rae, whose eyes were squeezed shut, as though she was concentrating with all her might. I seek strength not to be greater than others, but to fight my greatest enemy, the doubts within myself. I walked back to the center of the circle and finished the prayer, and for the first time in my life I felt a flutter of sensation of the ancient words and rushed from me to what I hoped with all my heart and soul was my listening goddess. Make me always ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes, so when life fades as the fading sunset, my spirit may come to you without shame. Technically, That was the conclusion of the Cherokee prayer my grandma had taught me. I felt the need to add, and next, I don't understand why you marked me and why you have given me the gift of an friend for the elements. I don't even have to know. What if I have to ask? What I want to ask is that you help me know the right thing to do and give me the courage to do it. I finished the prayer the way I remember whenever I completed her ritual. Blessed be. Chapter 24. Last chapter I'm reading for today. That was truly the most prodigious circle casting I ever experienced, Damien said, gushing over. After the circle had been closed and we were gathering up the candles and smudged stick, I thought prodigious meant big, Shaunee said. It can also show excitement and wonder and can refer to something stupendous and monumental, Damien said. For once, I'm not going to argue with you, Shaunee said, surprising everyone except Erin. Yeah, the word was precarious, Erin said. Do you know, I actually could feel Earth when Zoey called it, Stevie Rae said. It was like I was only surrounded by a growing wheat field. No, it was more than anything being surrounded by it. It was like I was suddenly a part of it. Chapter 24. I know exactly what you mean. When she called flame, it was like the fire exploded through me, Shaunee said. I tried to understand what I was feeling while the four of them talked happily together. I was definitely happy, but overwhelmed and more than a little confused. So it was true. I did have some kind of affinity with all five of the elements. Why? Just to bring down Aphrodite, which, by the by, I still didn't have a clue how to do. No, I don't think so. Why would Nyx touch me with a special unusual power so that I could kick a spoiled bully out of leadership of a club? Okay, the Dark Daughters were more than a student council or whatever, but still, Zoey, are you alright? The concerning Damien's voice made me look up from Nala, and I realized that I was sitting in the middle of what used to be the circle with my cat on my lap, completely engrossed in my own thoughts as I scratched her head. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm fine. Just a little distracted. We should get back. It's getting late, Stevie Rae said. Okay, you're right, I said, and got up, still holding on, but I couldn't make my feet follow them as they started to head back to the dorm. Zoey, Damien the first to notice my hesitation, stopped and called me back to me. And then my other friends stopped, looking at me with expressions that ranged from worry to confusion. Why don't you guys go ahead? I'm going to stay out here for just a little while longer. We could stay with you, and Damien began, but Stevie Rae, bless her little bumpkin heart, interrupted him. Zoey needs to do some thinking on her own. Wouldn't you if you just found out that you were the only friend in known history to have an affinity for all five elements? I suppose, Damien said reflectively. But don't forget that it'll be getting light soon, Erin said. I smiled, reassuring them. I won't. I'll be back at the dorm soon. I'll make a sandwich for you and try to scrape up some chips to go with your brown, non-diet pop. It's important that a high priestess eats after she performs a ritual, Stevie Rae said with a smile and waved as she pulled the rest of the four along with her. I called thanks to Stevie Rae as they disappeared into the darkness. Then I walked over to the tree and sat down, resting my back against the tree, its thick trunk. I closed my eyes and petted Nala. Her purr was normal and familiar, and incredibly smoothing, and it seemed to help ground me. I'm still me, I whispered to my cat. Just like Grandma said, all the other stuff can change, but what's really Zoey, what's been Zoey for 16 years is still Zoey. Maybe if I repeat it over and over enough to myself, I actually believe it. I rested my face in one hand and scratched.
Smell dinner cooking? I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah.
What's the smells appealing to you, or?
Yeah.
All right, good. It shouldn't be too much longer.
I actually believe it.
Probably within the hour, okay, baby?
Okay, I rested my face. I love you too. Face in one hand and scratched my cat with the other, and told myself that I was still me, still me, still me. See how she leans her cheek against her hand? Oh, that I were a glove, that upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. Now let me on in complaint as I jumped in surprise. Seems like I keep finding you by this tree, Erik said, smiling down at me and looking like a god. He made me feel like a fluttering in my stomach, but tonight he also made me feel something else. Just exactly why did he keep finding me? And just exactly how long had he been watching this time? What are you doing out here, Erin? Hi, it's nice to see you too. And yes, I would like to have a seat, thank you, he said, and started to sit beside me. I stood up, making all the mutter at me again. Actually, I was just going back to the dorm. Hey, I didn't even mean to intrude or whatever. I just couldn't concentrate on my homework, so I went forward. I guess my feet carried me this way without me telling them to, cause the next thing I knew, I was here, and here you are. I'm actually not stalking you, promise. He stuck his hand in his pocket and looked totally embarrassed. Well, totally cute and embarrassed. And I remember how much I had wanted to say yes to him earlier when he asked me to watch dorky movies with him, and now here I was rejecting him and making him uncomfortable again. It's a wonder the kid ever talked to me. Clearly I was taking this high priestess thing way too serious. So how about walking me back to my dorm again, I asked. Sounds good. This time not complain when I tried to carry her. Instead, she trotted along after us while Erik and I fell into step together as easily as we had before. We didn't say anything for a while. I wanted to ask him about Aphrodite, or at the very least tell him what she said to me about him. But I couldn't come up with a good way of saying something I probably didn't have any business questioning him about. So what are you doing out here this time, he asked. Thinking, I said, which technically wasn't a lie. I had been thinking a lot. Before, during, and after the circle casting, I was conventionally not going to mention. Oh, are you worried about the health kid? Actually, I hadn't thought about Heath or Kayla since I talked to Nephrite, and I shrugged, not wanting to get specifically about what I was thinking. I mean, I guess it's probably hard to break up with someone just because you got mobbed, he said. I didn't break up with him because I got mobbed. He and I were pretty much friends before that. The mark just made it more final. I looked at Erik and took a deep breath. What about you and Aphrodite? He blinked in surprise. What do you mean? I mean, today she told me that you'll never be her ex because you'll always be hers. His eyes narrowed, and he looked totally pissed. Aphrodite has a serious problem with telling the truth. Well, not that it's any of my business, but it is your business, he said quickly. And then, totally and utterly shocking me, took my hand. At least I like to be your business. Oh, I said, okay, well, okay. Once again, I was sure I was astounding him with my witty conversation skills. So you weren't just avoiding me tonight? You really had something to do? I wasn't avoiding you. There's just, I hesitate, not sure how to tell him, how to explain something I was pretty sure I shouldn't explain to him. There's a lot of stuff going on with me right now. This whole change thing is pretty confusing sometimes. It gets better, he said, squeezing my hand. Somehow for me, I doubt it, I muttered. He laughed and tapped my mark with his finger. You're just ahead of the rest of us. That's hard at first, but believe me, it'll get easier, even for you. I sighed. I hope so, but I doubt it. We stopped in front of the dorm, and he turned to me, his voice only low and said, Z, don't believe the crap Aphrodite says. She and I haven't been together in months. But you used to be, I said. He nodded, and his face looked strange. She's not a very nice person, Erik. I know that. Then I realized that's what had really been bothering me, and decided, oh well, what the hell, I'll just say it. I don't like it that you be with someone who's so mean. It makes me feel funny about wanting to be with you. He opened up his mouth to say something, and I kept talking, not wanting to hear excuses. I wasn't sure that I should or could believe. Thanks for walking me home. I'm glad you found me again. I'm glad I found you too, he said. I'd like to see you again, and not by accident. I hesitated. I wondered why I was hesitating. I didn't want to see him again. I needed to forget Aphrodite. Seriously, she is really pretty, and he is a guy. He probably fell into her haggish and hot clutches before he knew what was happening. I mean, she didn't kind of remind me of a spider. I should be glad that she hadn't been his head off and give a guy a chance. Okay, how about I watch those doggy DVDs with you Saturday? I said, before I could freakishly talk myself out of going with the most gorgeous guy at the school. It's a date, he said. I didn't give me time to pull away if I wanted to. Erik slowly bent down and kissed me. His lips were warm and he smelled really good. The kiss was soft and nice. Honestly, it made me want him to kiss me more. Too soon, it was over, but he didn't move away from me. We were staying close, and I realized I had my hands on his chest. His were resting on my shoulders. I smiled up at him. I'm glad you asked me out again, I said. I'm glad you finally said yes, he said. Then he kissed me again, only this time he wasn't hesitating. The kiss deepened, and my arms went up around his shoulders. I felt more than heard. Him moan as he kissed me long and hard. It was like he flipped a switch somewhere deep inside me, and hot, sweet, electric desire flashed through me. It was crazy and amazing, more than anyone else's kiss that had ever made me feel. I loved the way my body fitted his, hard against soft, and I pressed myself against him, forgetting about Aphrodite in the circle I just cast. The entire rest of the world. This time, when we broke off the kiss, we were both breathing hard, and we stared at each other. As my sense started to return to me, I realized that I was totally smudged against him, and that I'd been standing out there in front of the door, making out like a slut. I started to pull out of his arms. What's wrong? Why do you suddenly look different? He said, tying his arms around me. Erik, I'm not like Aphrodite. I said. I pulled harder, and he let me go. I know you're not. I wouldn't like you if you were like her. I don't mean just my personality. I mean standing out here making out with you just isn't normal behavior for me. Okay. He reached one hand toward me as though he wanted to pull me back into his arms, but then he seemed to change his mind and he felt his side. Zoey, you made me feel different than anyone had ever made me feel. I felt my face getting hot, and I couldn't tell if it was from anger or embarrassment. But don't pressurize me, Erik. I saw you in the hall with Aphrodite. You clearly felt this kind of stuff before and still. And he shook his head and saw hurt, and I saw hurt in his eyes. What Aphrodite made me feel was all physical. What you make me feel is about touching my heart. I know the difference, Zoey, and I thought you did too. I stared at him, at those gorgeous blue eyes that seemed to touch me for the first time. He looked at me. I'm sorry, I said something. That was mean of me. I do know the difference. Promise me that you won't let Aphrodite come between us. I promise. It's scary, but I meant it. Good. Nala energized out of the dark and started whining around my legs, complaining. I better get her inside and put her to bed. Okay. See you Saturday, Z. My lips tingled all the way up to my room. Well, that is the end of chapter 24. We will start on chapter 25 tomorrow.